Welcome to the Pinch Masterclass series. In this episode, we're going to be covering general knowledge questions that get asked frequently about how to use the Pinch system, where to find information that ultimately is going to lead you to be able to pilot your Pinch account with greater efficiency. I'm going to be covering these main topics. So MFA setup and reset, details about payment processing and settlement timings, disputes and chargeback, and how to become a Pinch partner. Outside of this, though, if you need to contact someone at Pinch Payments, here are some of the methods by which you can do so. So the first one is if you want to contact our support team, you can email support@getpinch.com.au, or if you ask our chatbot, it'll prompt you to set up and fill out a support form, which it will be provided to you. You can also find this support form inside of our knowledge base. The next is compliance. So if you need to contact our compliance team at all, you can do so from this email address. And this is also the email address that they will contact you in the event that they are requesting any additional information. The last one is our sales pipeline. So if you need to access us and talk to us about opportunities or potential sales opportunities or partnerships and collaborations, you can do so by emailing hello@getpinch.com.au. Outside of that, the chatbot is the next best thing. You can actually access this AI-powered chatbot, which is connected to all of our systems from inside of the Pinch Merchant portal. And it's also available on our website if you want to talk to it about sales queries before even setting up an account. So that's how you can actually get in contact with people here at Pinch Payments. All right, let's talk about our general information. So we're going to start with MFA. MFA is quite a simple one here at Pinch Payments. You have to have an MFA to access Pinch if your account is connected to an accounting system. When you first log into and set up your Pinch account, or you have been added as a new user to your account, you will be prompted to set up your MFA with your chosen authenticator app. All you need to do is scan the QR code, which will be displayed on the screen to you when you are setting up the account. And the scanning that QR code into your authenticator app will get you to verify a code. And once done, you will then have an active MFA. Every time you go and log in to Pinch from then on, the system will ask you for your authenticator code. You can also allow the system to memorize the chosen code for 14 days if you don't want to be continuously prompted every single time you log in, if you're logging in frequently. In the event that you need to reset or request a reset of your MFA, you will need to reach out to our support team so we can actually validate that reset and ensure that you are acting under good faith. This is typical for people who have purchased a new mobile phone or potentially a new staff member has been hired and they need access to a previously set up Pinch account. Just reach out to our support team and they'll be able to reset the MFA for you so you can gain access to the account again. So that's everything related to MFA. So moving on, we're next going to talk about payment processing. So here at Pinch Payments, we support two types of payment processing. We support direct debits and we support credit cards or debit cards. You can see here by default, the limits on these are $10,000 for direct debit per transaction, meaning per invoice or batch payment, and $30,000 for cards. The reason for this is based on risk profiling. Direct debits here in Australia present quite a heavy risk to a business, and I'll cover that in a little minute when we talk about disputes and chargebacks. So let's talk about the different types of payment processing and the timings surrounding these payment types. Direct debits are managed here in Australia by a shared system called BECS, BECS. Effectively, what it is it's a file system that allows for the request of funds out of accounts via banking network. This process takes 3 business days from when the payment is submitted to when you will receive your funds, because it takes 2 days for the bank to process the debit request and either let us know that there are funds available and debit them, or let us know that there aren't funds sufficient enough to actually cover the debit, at which point the direct debit will fail. That's why you'll actually see payments that are processing via direct debit. They'll sit with a status of processing for 2 to 3 days before you actually know with confidence that they've been debited. This is just the nature of direct debits. They aren't designed for instantaneous quick payment, so they're much more suited for services that you have extended due dates on, or you're not immediately rendering service for. This is a little bit different for cards. The card network is instant. So at the time at which we attempt to request funds and debit the client's card, the funds are either there and given to us from the card issuer's bank, or the transaction fails altogether. So you get instant response. This allows us to settle you a lot quicker. So with cards, we can actually settle you the following day and one extra day after that in the event of Amex, because Amex just takes a little bit longer to disperse the funds. Whereas direct debits take the 3 business days. So just keep that in mind. It's 3 business days for direct debits, which means if you process a payment on a Friday, you are unlikely to receive the funds for that until probably Tuesday or Wednesday, depending on what time you submitted the actual request with the direct debit. Whereas cards, if you submit a payment on a Thursday, you'd be very likely to receive those funds on Friday. So that's some general information about payments and disbursement times. A couple really important things for you to know about where to find information related to your payment in Pinch is by actually clicking into the invoice. And there's 2 sections I want to draw your attention to. The first one is down here under our payment attempt section. So this will give you a running chronological overview of whether a payment has failed historically or been successful. So this example here, you can obviously see that the invoices have been immediately successful on the card. However, if there had been previous attempts to charge this card and for any reason they were insufficient funds, you would see those as separate line items with a failed status, what type of failure it was, be it invalid account or insufficient funds or technical error. And you'll be able to basically spot check what has happened with this payment. One section lower down here, which is the second area, is the payment audit log. So this is actually where you can get a fully chronological timeline of everything related to this invoice. So that actually includes when we detected this invoice from your accounting software, whether or not you had a pre-approval and our system has pre-scheduled this for automated debiting. You can then see the date and time that the invoice was taken and whether or not the system successfully synced to the accounting system. These are all really good areas to sanity check before raising a support request, because 9 times out of 10, they'll often answer your query about what has happened with something, and you'll no longer need to raise a support request because the information will be available for you here. On top of that, if you're connected to Xero, we can actually pull a live feed of the invoice history by clicking this button, which will also help us to determine whether or not something has occurred. So you can obviously see here at 5:01 or 6 seconds past 5:01, the invoice was approved, and then it was immediately synced into Pinch Payments. So that's some good quality of life things to look for when you want to find detailed information about a specific invoice. When it comes to customers, there's very similar information available for customer records. If you click into your customer and you scroll down to the very bottom of the page, you'll find this little sub-tab called Notes and Logs. The Notes and Logs gives you a complete running chronological view of every action that has happened for a customer. So if I scroll to the very bottom, you can see here that this customer was created at 5:01 a.m. and then they received all of the appropriate settings that were applied to their account regarding surcharging. And you can see here, some days later, a pre-approval was activated for this customer. You can then see a merchant initiated a payment via the Pay Now, and then subsequently after that, a different invoice was processed on auto debit. You can then also see that some settings were changed. We track all of the information for a customer and what sort of actions have changed on their account. If you've enabled or disabled certain settings, or applied surcharges, or removed payment sources, canceled pre-approvals, updated pre-approvals, sent invitations. All of these actions are tracked and they are stored here in the Notes and Logs section for you. Another really good spot for you to actually sanity check information. Alrighty, the next thing to move on to is disputes. So some general information about disputes is that here in Australia, direct debits can be disputed up to 7 years after the transaction occurred. This presents quite a significant risk to both merchant and payment gateway, so in this case Pinch, which is why we set quite low direct debit defaults at $10,000. This is to protect both you and us from needing to charge back and reverse a debit on a very large sum of money, which could potentially, be us extracting funds from your account to cover that, and you might not have those funds available. Cards don't share the same process. In Australia, cards can only be charged back. So, I mean, the actual invoice or the debit that occurred can only be charged back for 180 days, up to 180 days after it occurred. This gives you, as the merchant, a lot more security about those funds. So, if you have to choose between a card or bank account, the more secure pro merchant option is the card because it gives you more security about those funds and presents far less risk. Whereas direct debits, potentially you could have someone disagree that you conducted the full service that you charged them for, and they could dispute and charge back that payment with their banking establishment. We at Pinch Payments manage the disputes process for you. So when you have a payment that has been disputed, you'll actually get an email notification letting you know, and our disputes team will actually reach out to you requesting evidence to help counteract that dispute as we submit evidence with the appropriate direct debit or card issuer gateway to actually counteract that dispute. You'll also see the status of the payment will change from successful to disputed so that you can actually see in portal that the payment has been disputed, and we will then manage that process with you. That's it for disputes. The last thing to talk about is partners. So if you want to become a Pinch partner, super, super straightforward. All you need to do is reach out to us via our support email and request for us to send you the Pinch partner agreement. This just outlines the actual terms of service of our partner arrangement, how long we pay our commission revenue share for, and gives you details about the actual ability to access the partner system, which allows you to refer clients and receive compensation for that, as well as gain access to their account if they request it, and generally create and manage the onboarding of new clients on their behalf as well. So quite a powerful feature. Those are really the main pieces of information that commonly get asked here at Pinch Payments. Other things that get asked for related to compliance and things like that are covered specifically in the relevant masterclass videos for those systems. If you have any queries or questions that aren't covered in this or other videos, or aren't covered by a knowledge base article that we have in our help center, please definitely reach out to us so that we can actually update the knowledge base articles or generate a knowledge base article to share that information with you. We want to ensure that you're as educated as possible on how the Pinch system works to make sure that nothing is catching you off guard